Okay, let's hope it doesn't fall. Seems to be okay. Hello. I hope that this message finds you well, that this video finds you well wherever in the world you are, whenever in, time, space, continuum you choose to listen to this video. So I want to actually talk about shame today, because it's really a program. And I'm just going to simplify it, like the whole spiritual stuff, like all these teachings are actually so simple that it actually really makes me angry when I see people try to make them just so intense and so kind of like high level that only some people have access to it. But really, this is part of our birthright. This is what we all have access to. And so I want to bring in this information, that way it's going to make sense, and that way we can actually start to incorporate it into our lives. So shame. That feeling you get where you just like it makes you like energetically constrict and like squeeze everything in. And in a sense, it's a way of us playing small. And it's not a natural feeling. Like, we're not designed with this shame. We're not designed to have shame or to have jealousy or to have, some of these lower emotions that just don't feel right in our body because they're so constricting. So shame can manifest as a few different things. It can manifest as pity. It can manifest as low self-worth. It can be like settling for less, or even saying sorry, apologizing often. I see this one a lot. For some reason, every time I go to the store, it's like I run into someone in the same aisle and then they're like, oh, sorry, and then they like move away. And it's definitely a feminine quality, by the way, guys. Like the shame thing, it is linked to the sexual organs, I would say, but it's more of like a feminine way that it expresses itself, because it's not just like this thing that has anything to do with reality. Like it's a feeling, I guess. That's like literally the best way I can explain it. Anyways, so things like playing small, like we said, like all that stuff is part of shame. It's rooted in shame. And so what happens is there's a higher level. Oops, I just dropped my crystal. There's a higher level and a lower level of some emotion. And so when you're feeling shame, that's like on the lower level of it, the opposite side of shame is self-love. And so it's really simple. The way that you transmute shame is through self-love, bringing love to those things that you feel sad about or, shameful about, not sad. And I have a story. So when I was 23, I believe, it's after I had graduated college, I started working a full-time job. I was working at a 9 to 5. I was finally making money. And so my goal was, when I save up enough, I'm going to buy myself a nice car. At this point, I didn't have my own car. I was borrowing my family's like old Highlander, and nothing wrong with that car. It wasn't anything bad or crazy. It just didn't have like music. I knew that I deserved more than that. So once I was able to save up enough money, I had a friend who worked at BMW who was like, I'm going to get you a good deal on a lease. And so I went to BMW, found the exact car I wanted, ran the numbers, whatever. I ended up leasing a BMW. And this is like the first car that I had for myself. And let me tell you guys, so much undercover shame came through with the purchase of this car. I mean, obviously it wasn't a purchase, it was just a lease, but still, just by driving in this luxury vehicle, I started seeing myself as an imposter. I had all of this shame around like, how do I deserve this? But everybody else is going around driving like, other lower end cars. I would be like at a red light and I would look at the car over next to me and it would be like some older guy and he'd be driving like some beat up old car, and I would feel so much pity for people. And this is how I know that pity is just shame deep down, because it made me feel like I didn't deserve what I had, even though I had clearly worked for it energetically, physically. I put in the time at my job to earn the income to be able to afford what I want, but so much pity came out from this. And it's not until recently that I realized that this is a program that I'm actually still running to some extent, by choosing to play small, by thinking I'm not worthy enough to share these codes, by, letting distractions take me off of my own divine path, my own journey. And so with this shame being a program, what I want you guys to get is that the human body is like a computer. The mind is a supercomputer. And whatever you believe, whatever thoughts you're running, those are those programs. They're all rooted in something. And the external world is constantly feeding you confirmations of those programs. See how effed up it is? So when you grow up and your parents think like, be happy for yourself, but not too happy. You don't want to jinx things. When you believe, oh, that's bad luck. Don't walk under a ladder. You're going to lose all your money. Don't put your purse on the floor. Like, all of these things have been conditioned in us from the outside world to the point where they become part of ourselves, and then we are the ones who beat ourselves up for it. And it's really sad. We don't deserve that. And there's the pity again. I'm not pitying us anymore. This whole thing coming to the surface, I am witnessing in myself, like in different layers. I don't have that same pity anymore with my car. I don't have the BMW anymore, but whenever I go out places and, I see people with less than what I have, I feed them more love, I do whatever I can. But I don't sit around pitying them or thinking about it afterwards, like that poor guy driving his 90s Honda and here I am in my Tesla. I don't think that. I think, okay, I'm gonna be that light that this person needs, or maybe does not need. I'm not gonna project onto somebody else's experience anymore. What if that person is on their way up? What if that person was homeless a year ago? What if they're so grateful for this beat up old car that they have because they have a car? And so this is how our reality can keep us kind of stuck, because it can keep us in this confirmation bias where we see things outside of ourselves and then we start to project because we're like, oh, my life has taught me that this is true. My life has taught me that I deserve to ride in style. I deserve to have a safe car. And so if if other people are not on that same level and they're having a different experience, I can let them have their experience. And even if they are jealous of me or they wish ill on me, that's a reflection of them. So they're going to get that back to themselves. You see? So that pity thing is rooted in that shame. And so I really had to face the shame, and it follows down, unfortunately, in my bloodline, and which is where a lot of these things have started. These things are not necessarily something that we've been raised with, that happened to us through our own experience. Oftentimes they could be from lifetimes ago. They could be something our soul carried in. They could be part of our bloodline, like my mom and my grandma, and who knows how far back it goes, but both of them have had these scarcity blocks, these shame. Like, my grandma doesn't even believe she deserves help, and she's like 93 years old. She thinks that she can do everything on her own. That's a program. And we have the power to update any of these programs. That's the good news. Woo! Cheers go on. Can't really lift my arms with the shirt, but I'm still cheering on the outside, on the inside, all around. But so how do we really transmute that? Because it's one thing to say, just work on self-love, but it's another thing to really anchor in self-love. And this is one thing I recently learned that I was not practicing, even though I have been preaching self-love for years. And I believe in self-love, and I know that I deserve my own self-love, but now how often do I actually practice it? How often do I pat myself on the back or congratulate myself for something that I've done? And that in itself is a program too. You see, so many of them are tied to what we do and how we prove ourselves. We don't need to prove ourselves. We are already enough just the way we are. And so what I was thinking about is the way to rewire that is to bring it to the light. And that's how we really transmute anything. Just really face what it is. Oh, I have this shame. Instead of running from the shame and saying, no, I don't have a shame. That's the old me. Like, that's the ego talking, So being able to really confront ourselves and sit within and be like, wow, I have shame. Okay, now it's in the light. And now I can clear that. Find where it lives within my body. Our body is like a living library. And it carries, the programs, it carries the good, it carries the bad, it carries everything that's currently in our system. And so what we can do for any of these things once we acknowledge that they exist is get really still, start to communicate with our subconscious. This is actually something that I do in my soul retrieval sessions because it goes through the subconscious but links the mind to the emotion to find where it all began, to really get to the root of it, be able to clear that on a root level, clear it on a physical level. You've upgraded. But you still need to work on the foundation. The foundation is what holds everything up, So when the foundation breaks because you're running a faulty program and the foundation falls apart, there needs to be new foundation. Otherwise, you're going to just be so ungrounded and confused and just revert back to old patterns and just build up that foundation the way that it was. Like copy, paste, bring it back. We don't want to do that anymore. No more copy, paste. No more of that. That is the old paradigm. That is the old way of living. We are moving into our birthright. We are taking back what we deserve. And what we deserve is abundance. What we deserve is to feel full and whole, is to know that we are worthy of creating anything we want to create. There's that sexual organ block again. Creation. So, since abundance is so heavily tied to money, I wanted to talk about this for a second. Abundance and money. Money is just a manifestation of energy. If you have an abundance of energy, it can manifest as money. If you have an abundance of money, that's your abundance of energy coming through the physical. And so being in abundance is what we need in order to feel full, in order to feel worthy, in order to feel that self-love. Because self-love is feeling full, is loving every single part of yourself. And that's really what this healing process, this healing journey that we're all on right now is all about. It's all about reworking the stories that we've been programmed with, literally the programs that are in our computer, our mind, and being like, That one's not mine. That one doesn't resonate. Why do I pity people? That doesn't resonate. They're on their own divine path. They deserve to be on their path, send them love. But it's not our job to go into someone's programming and fix their programming unless they're coming to us asking for help. So why pity them? That's a waste of our energy. It's a waste of our abundance, our currency, because that's where we build from. So that's the new foundation then. At that point, we come down, we get grounded, we come back to what's real, we work on gratitude, we work on forgiving ourselves. And the more that we do that consistently, we show up every day, we spend 5 minutes, we spend 20 minutes, however long it takes, an hour, 2 hours. I mean, I don't think you need to really necessarily heal for that long. My thing is all about, it's freaking easy, guys. Like, we just have to tap into our hearts, tap into our soul's essence, remember what we deserve. So, let's see, is there anything else I wanted to say on this? The last thing I'm going to leave us on is that wherever there's any stagnation, see, this could be thought of as a bad thing, you know? Like, but nothing is, like, it's not black or white, it's black and white. So when you make an association and you realize, oh, there's some stagnation in my shoulder. There's a block there, I can feel it. There's something there. Once you have that, just know, one, you will clear it because you're perfectly capable of it. You just have to believe. And two, that's where there's more of you waiting to be expressed. Anywhere the energy is like stagnating, it just needs to be freed so it can freely move about the cabin, you know? Move around the cabin, move outside the cabin, come back through. Like it's all just moving, you know? Just how we're always breathing. The world around us, always breathing. The trees are breathing. Whoa. The birds are breathing. Everything is breathing. Everything is moving. So when you feel that stagnation, that's where you're out of balance. You're out of sync with your natural flow, essentially. So I hope that helps clear some of that mental part of the shame. All you really need to do, like I said, is just get really real with yourself, face it, feel it, and change that story and work on changing that story every single day. Set the new foundation. I believe in you guys.